Hey there, welcome to 21 Secrets to Retail Success. I'm your host and facilitator, Nicole Sims. Welcome to day 21. We did it. Today we have two guests for you today. Today, the first one is Mel Robbins, who is the CEO of The LotCo in Melbourne, Australia. She has 25 years as a retailer, mentor, and a brand owner, and she helps small brands and wholesalers and fashion brands with their businesses. Today we talk about all things e-commerce, all things online stores, and the number one secret you need to have a successful online store. It's a great conversation. Don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. I was going to say good afternoon, but for you, it's good morning out in Australia.
It is. We're ahead in time.
I love it. I love it. So cool that you guys are ahead of us. So thank you for being part of this project. I'm so glad you agreed to join us. I'm so excited for this conversation because it's going to be really, really packed with a lot of information that a lot of our our viewers are going to love and really hold on to. So let's get started with the questions. So our first question for you is, what is your number one secret for starting an online store boutique successfully?
This is a good question. So one of the things I feel is crucial to make sure that it is successful is to understand how you are going to get traffic to your website. So you can build it, but will they come is the question,
Right.
Obviously you can have an amazing product, an amazing collection of, mixture of products, and your website can be beautiful, but if you're not getting people there, then that is the element that needs work. So for me, I think having businesses to have an understanding of how they're going to get people to their website, how they're going to share, where they are, what their website is, what their range is. So that number one thing is to understand how to get traffic to your website and to not put all your eggs in one basket either. So that it's not just paid ads or, you hear people say, I'm just going to do some Facebook ads and everything will be great. That would be great, but obviously there's all different things that come into play there in terms of, sometimes they're super expensive, which they are right now. They've gone up a lot. You've got to have someone help you do that as well, so you're going to pay agency fees unless you do it yourself. So obviously that's one element of how you can get traffic to your website, but having that understanding of what are all the different things I can do to get people to find out about me, and to really understand who your end customer is, to know that it depends on where their attention is and what they look at or where they spend their time, depends on what you're going to do to get your traffic there. Definitely lots of elements in terms of understanding that it might be ads, it might be some SEO, it might be some PR, it might be some, word of mouth collaborations or influencers, but there's lots of different elements. So understanding that you've got to have a number of ways to get traffic to your website.
That's good. Because that is the most important thing. Traffic does mean people are actually getting their eyes on you and your product. And if they're looking at your product, like you say, beautiful website, beautiful product, no one's buying and no one sees it, you have a business. So that's perfect. It. So you mentioned a couple of them. You mentioned obviously Facebook ads, but a lot of people think Facebook ads. You mentioned SEO. What are some other ones? I'll say, I'm listening to you. I'm like, okay, Melissa, I get it. I know there's different ways, but I've only been in business for a couple of years. I don't really know what I can do. My budget's really tight. What are some options you have for me where I can start getting some traffic consistently, but in a reasonable budget?
Yeah. Well, I think one element of that is to have a marketing strategy in place and a plan in place so that you know what you're going to do over a period of time. So it's not just how do I do it like a reactionary thing, but going, I'm going to have a plan in place over the year. These are all the different things I'm going to talk about or promote or bring in new range, new products into your mix and that sort of stuff. So having a plan of what you're going to talk about in your marketing, and then going, well, how do I then put that into the traffic sort of sources? And that would be, whether that, I think I've got a whole list here, which I'll go through, but social media obviously is one element of your marketing, which you could then get traffic to your website, but don't put all your eggs again in one basket. So social media, whether you have throughout the year a different collaboration going on with other brands or other stores, or you have a unique product with one of your suppliers, whether you have, like you do a sort of pop-up shop, or not pop-up, because if you're online, you could occasionally do a retail pop-up. Yeah. So if you're only online, you could do that as a special to get people to know about you and to find out about you. Promotions in terms of donating things and getting sort of like sponsorship advertising. Yeah. The blog, I think some people sort of think, blog instead. Why would I write a blog post? And I had someone say this to me yesterday, the other day, one of my clients. Why would anyone want to see what I'm writing about, travel guide to Paris? Like she had a French linen product, and it was a beautiful product. And I said to her, it's about you, the community around you. So you've got to educate and talk to your clients about things that they are passionate about, but also tie into what your product is. So writing a blog post, and that would be a consistent thing, not just a one-off one, where that ties into what your SEO is or what people are searching for. And having that education piece there too, in terms of, for her, it was like, well, what is the difference between French linen and, European linen, or where it's made? How does that have an impact? So education there. And then also, any fashion boutiques, like, people want to know how you put things together. So how do you style garments? How do you, what do you think is the best way to dress for this body shape? Or all of those sort of things. Of course, that information is out there, but it's about curating it in a way that is different. You're going to create it in a way that no one else is going to do. So putting elements of that out there, those sort of things, one, educate your customer, two, help for SEO and people to find you if they're searching, what's the best thing to wear to a wedding or whatever it might be that suits your product mix. So those things help. And they're not one thing you've got to do, it's consistency.
No, that's good. I like that with the blog. That was a really good thing with the blog. That's what one of my clients bought as well. We're going over her website, and she started a blog and kind of stopped it. Just current things that I was doing to kind of, because she has a hair care line. She makes it, she creates it. Yep. And she was giving more education about the ingredients and how they help your hair. And she stopped. Well, that's really good, because they want to learn from you. You're the expert, right? Yes. And they want to know what these products do. And so then, okay, what does, aloe vera oil do for my aloe vera water do for my hair? They'll look it up and find your blog, and then find the fact that you sell it. So she's like, I didn't think about that. She just trying to do something that was fun, and she wanted to inform, but she said, well, it's not doing any good. I'm like, yeah, but you got to be consistent with it, to your point. Yeah. Be consistent, have it on there. And also, your point as well, it makes you the expert in that field. It makes you the expert for that product. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely. And on that, just saying that extra way to get traffic as well is every blog post, making sure you're putting your cover pages of that blog post, or every image in that blog post, pinning to Pinterest, because that's a great way to get traffic too, because that is more of a search engine than it is a social media.
Oh, that's good. That's a great idea. So you guys got those notes. Those are really good nuggets right there.
on that as well, just checking your Google Analytics to see what is helping, because sometimes you don't get that direct return like you would of Facebook ads. You don't know necessarily that's what's bringing people there. So check your analytics, whether you're Shopify or whether you've got, that back end data, as well as Google Analytics, to see where are people coming to me at the moment, and how can I edit that or improve those ones that they're already coming with me.
No, that's good too, because then you know where your shopper's coming from and you do get it. And then that's where you put all your emphasis. Like you said, don't put all one basket, but if you have 3 areas or 2 areas, and they say it's coming from Pinterest and it's coming from Google searches, then that's where you need to be. So that's good.
That's right. Yeah.
So kind of,
and if you are going to do an advertising ad or something like in print media, have a sort of special coupon or something like that, so that you can then see if people have used that they've come via that source.
No, that's good too. So now you know what marketing's working. Oh, that's nice. I love that. So that's something people don't really think about. They always just go to straight Facebook ads, which are good, and straight social media, but they don't think of the other things you can do, how people can find you. which is the whole thing, finding you.
Finding you. Yeah, having them come to you because you're solving their problem.
Right, exactly. So kind of going along with that, so you kind of mentioned a little bit, but kind of expound, what do you think is one of the biggest mistakes you see when people, your clients, you come in contact with running an online store? The common mistakes to kind of see.
I think I think I touched on it a bit before, but it is about that marketing is you've got to constantly market, and that you can't just go, okay, well, I've done a Facebook ad, now I'll go and do my other things I need to do. So it's a constant state of marketing, testing and trialing, seeing what works, adding new things in, or just it's a constant state that you just can't do once and forget about. You've got to continually, and it's probably a bit of a bugbear of, retailers too, like, I don't have time to produce content. But that is what you need to do. And it doesn't have to be hard, in that I think if you're smart about the way you go about it too, you can have that one bigger piece of content, let's say a blog post, that then becomes an email, that then becomes a Pinterest pin, and then that becomes also a social media post. Like you have to constantly market, but you don't have to work hard every single time on every single section.
That's good. No, that's good, because that's actually what I do. I take one piece of content, I'll write it into probably a blog post or an email, and then take that same kind of information and put it into a social media post, and then I do ping it on Pinterest. It's the same thing. So I got like 4 different areas from one particular content.
100%. And even if they're doing like videos on whether it's on social media, that can also be used for YouTube, or it can be used for TikTok. Like if you do a TikTok, it become a reel. So having it longer use. It's not just that one effort that you didn't just go to one place. That's it. Yeah.
Right. I think that's really good too, because a lot of people, again, you're going to hear people, I have time, because some people are doing this part-time. They're doing their online store part-time as far as a 9 to 5. So they're like, I work a 9 to 5. I'm doing my online store. I want to really put money into it. I really want it to be successful. But how am I supposed to, and I have kids, or I have husband or wives or whatever, how am I supposed to get content all the time? But if, like you say, you sit down, have a plan, take one piece of content and stretch it out in 5 different ways. Therefore, you have your content for the whole week or month and spread it out, and you're fine. So it's about being strategic, to your point, planning it out, and then using the creative ones and repurposing it, right?
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Good.
And I think, and whether I can, add something else to that.
Yeah, of course.
One of the mistakes that I think we've touched on before when we've spoken is that pricing and margins. So really understanding your margins in your business and what price you set things at, or if you have reductions or discounts, that knowing what your gross profit margin is overall, whether it's every month or every quarter, that you really analyze it, because changing those things 1%, 2%, 3% can make a massive difference to your bottom line. So having an understanding of what it is, and then, okay, how can I change that or improve that, can then leave you more at the end of the day to spend on your marketing, or to spend on your, your staffing, or whatever else it might be, or to keep for yourself to profit.
There you go.
Nice.
I mean, very
You'll
nice.
need that. So just understanding what your profit margin is, and being smart about how you do a sale, or how quickly, if things aren't moving through in your stock, checking which things move faster and getting more of those categories, or just understanding the data in your business and what's selling and what's giving you the best profit.
Right.
Can then help you have more at the end of the day. And as I said, it only has to change 1 or 2%. It doesn't have to be this 10-15% bigger to make a big difference.
Yeah, that's good. I think a lot of people miss that too. I think a lot of them, they're pricing to be competitive, and the pricing to be maybe or a low margin, or they're trying to be like, I want people to come to my store, so that person sells the same dress at $25, so I'm gonna sell it at $15, but you bought it at $10. So you don't have a good profit there. But not thinking about the profit, thinking about the price. So that's a very good point, that when you're putting your price on your items, not just about competing with the surface level pricing, but how much money you take home at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
That's right. Because you can have, as you know, we've all heard that saying, the sales are vanity, profit is sanity. Like if you have all the sales, but if you've got no profit, then it doesn't really help.
Yeah. I think a lot of young or new online boutique owners don't get that part because there's so much saturation. There's so many people out there, but there's room for everybody. But again, you're competing on all these different things. So everybody thinks, well, if I'm cheaper or I'm lower and I can appeal to more people, I'll make more money. But if you're doing that, but you don't have a cushion of your profit that they you take home and actually get more, like you say, more inventory, your expenses, and then yourself, then you're just wasting your time and you're going to be out of business soon. So that's really good.
And you don't want it to be a race to the bottom of the pricing.
Right.
You want the reason people buy from you is the way you combine your product mixes, or what your product is, or how you help them with styling, or how you educate them on certain things, or the way that you deliver your parcel is just that great experience. So you don't want it to be just about price, why people are shopping.
But to your point, I do see that a lot though. They're just, I'm gonna be the cheapest person, or they're competing on the same type of brand. But understanding, even if you do a little higher, but you give out things you just said, I will pay more because I'm getting the whole experience with you. So let's say you're selling your coat for $45 and they compare to sales for $30, but you have a blog post, you're giving me expertise, styling, you do tips, you have customer service. It's worth it to me, right? As a customer. Yeah.
And I think, again, it comes back to people buy from people, and they want to experience that human connection. So by you putting that out there more, and not everyone wants to be the face of their brand, I know that, or their store. But it doesn't have to be just you. It could be your staff, or it could be different elements. But people buy from people, so they don't necessarily buy just because it is cheapest. And of course, some people do. Of course, some people are going to yes, it's a bargain, I'm going to get that now. But it's hard to be a business only based on price.
Yeah, I love that. That's good. So kind of going on with that. So, okay, I've listened to Mel. Okay, I'm sitting here, I've listened to Mel. I've done it. I have a consistent strategy. I've got content. I've done my pricing right. I'm really good. Now I want to scale. I want to grow. So what do you think some of the misconceptions that a lot of online boutique owners and store owners have for growing their business?
So I think that it takes all elements, and it's not just your marketing, or not just your product, not just your location, not just what your website looks like, but it's about small changes in all areas to have that to growth and scale. And I think looking at your website, like I talk to people when I look at their analytics on their website, and it's like, well, if you can make small increases in your average order, small increases in your conversion rate, you can increase your traffic, you can have more ways people are finding you, you can have a different product mix, you can have a better margin in your product, you can do more sales, like you can have sales coming from different sources, not just online, or maybe not just in the store. So it takes all elements to have to work together, and sort of working on each of them. So that maybe, your finances, pricing, your sales in terms of how to increase the average order value, and then your marketing, how to get more people to you. So all those elements of a business, which, it sort of comes back to a business plan type of thing, in terms of those elements of a business plan are there for a reason. And the reason that business plans have been around for a long, long time. Because all those different elements go to make a successful business. And it doesn't, as I said, doesn't have to be, okay, I need to increase my sales and then I'll have more money. It's okay, well, increase your sales, that's one thing. But if you've got a better margin, if you've got more people finding you, if your average order is higher, if you can sell through the product faster, they're all going to help you. They're all going to help.
That's good. That's good. You broke that down really well. So I know a lot of people, like, again, we have this image of to scale means I'm selling more and that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else. Just sell more product and I'll scale. So you just put it out. That's not exactly all of it. right?
No, that's right. It's one element. Yeah.
Yeah, one element. That's good. That's really, really good. So before we leave out of here, I know you have a free gift for our audience today. So what is that? Can you go a little more detail?
So yeah, and obviously it ties into what we've talked about, which is great. So 15 ways to get more traffic to your website. So that was just one of my, and everyone might be look at it and then you might be doing 5 already and it's like, okay, there's 10 more here I can try. Or you might be doing one of these and you're like, great, I've got all these other things I can test and trial. Right. So yeah, it's a list of 15 ways to get more traffic to your website that doesn't include, actually one of them maybe ads, but that's just one element.
That's only 1 out of 15.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, 15 ways to help you get more eyes on your website and get more eyes on your brand and your product.
That's going to be great. So that link, you guys, will be in the email you got this video in. So go back to the same video, get the link and sign up for that. That's going to be great. Great stuff. So you kind of went to a little bit over in the beginnings to kind of an idea, but now she's going to go more detail in her freebie. So before we get off of this call, I have one more final question for you. So everyone's watching, they listened to you, took some notes, and they got what you're saying. What is the one thing, if they don't get anything else from this talk, what is the one thing you want everybody to walk away from?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say know your numbers. So know your numbers. So use the data you get from your website or your point of sale system to know what is happening in your business. That is crucial to understand, all the different numbers in your business, the data.
Right. That's perfect. I love that. Simple, short, but know your numbers because the numbers matter. That's how you make the money. It's how you grow. That's how you have a life for yourself. Make the numbers, know them. So I think a lot of people, again, they don't look at their numbers as much. They look at the one number sales, but not all the other numbers that add up to it. So that's a really good advice. Good stuff. Now, thank you so much. It was a great conversation. I knew it was going to be great. So everything, you guys will be, all her information will be, how can I find you?
So at the LotCo.com.au. So I'm Australian based. The LotCo.com.au. So I look and on Instagram at the LotCo.
Yes, LotCo.
LOTCO.
Yeah. They're going to get that as well. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Mel. Have a good rest of your day. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great. Thanks, Nicole.